Taiwan could boost military spending by 5% next year. Local news agency United Daily reports the government plans to spend a record high amount on defense. Rick Glauert has been following developments for us from the capital, Taipei. Rick, what does this number mean?
So the figure we're talking about is $19 billion on defense in 2025. As you mentioned, that's about 5% more than was spent this year, and it's going to amount to about between 2 and 2.5% of Taiwan's GDP. We should say that these are just local media reports. The cabinet has not officially put this proposal forward, and when they do, it will still need to be passed through the country's legislature before Taiwan can start spending that money. But what we do know is that Taiwan will most likely be spending this on its asymmetric war capabilities. Those are weapons that will allow it to defend itself. Things like anti-ship missiles, and I think they've also outlining some spending on long-range radar aircraft. And this is, of course, all going to counter that Chinese threat against Taiwan. Taiwan has said it's going to commit itself to bolstering its defenses, spending a lot of money as part of that, but it's also lengthened conscription for citizens, and it's also bolstering its local weapons manufacturing industry. But there are voices out there saying that Taiwan is not spending enough. Taiwan's main ally, the US, and also the provider of most of those weapons, wants Taiwan to be spending more than the 2% of its GDP on defense. And do you remember that the Republican nominee, Donald Trump, said that Taiwan should be footing a bill for the friendship it has with the US, which acts as that deterrence to China.
And as you mentioned, this proposal will have to pass the legislature before Taiwan can start spending. Now, how easy will that be?
Well, not that easy is the short answer. This is the first defense budget put forward by Lien since he became president in May. And while he is continuing a very similar plan to his predecessor, Tsai, he is facing a very different political situation. While his ruling party, the Democratic Progressive Party, won the presidency in May, they lost control of the legislature, and opposition groups there have already taken control, and they've been putting through quite a lot of controversial bills that would curb some of the power of the executive branch that's been causing violence in the legislature and protests on the streets. So there's a real concern that bills like this could be dead in the water because of that opposition in the legislature. This has happened in Taiwan before, in the early 2000s, when Taiwan also had a split government. And the ruling party is warning that if there is political action like this, Taiwan's national security could be at risk.